Welcome to 17 Strong. Victories don't come by accident. Here's your host, Steve Teixeira.
Thanks, Andy. This is just me today. Steve is not going to be here doing this podcast. We are talking to two breast cancer survivors and also our Victory Trip recipients. So please welcome Jenny and Taryn. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much. Super excited to be here.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to have you because we don't have very many of the recipients here. So we decided to ask you to come on. And if you guys would just start by just telling me a little bit about you. Mm-hmm. Tell me about if you're married and how many kids you have, a little bit about maybe where you're from. So go ahead. I'm going to start with Jenny first.
Okay. All right. Hi,
okay.
I'm Jenny Wallace, and I am living on the Central Coast. I've been here since probably 2000. About 2000. I've lived on the Central Coast, and I have a son, River Wallace, and he is now going to be 4.5.
I can't believe it.
I know.
I cannot believe it. So is he in school?
He's in preschool.
He's in preschool.
Yeah. He's a joy.
He is. And you have to remind yourself sometimes.
I do have to remind myself.
I love it. And I love also you're married.
Yes. My husband, Billy Wallace, amazing. He's been nothing but a blessing in my life, most definitely. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. And I own my own business. I'm a mobile dog groomer and been doing that for 20 years, actually. Owned my business for about 10. So
awesome. What's the name of it?
Muddy Paws.
Muddy Paws, everybody.
Yeah.
In case.
So definitely blessed to be able to make my own schedule and have such amazing clients too, to kind of hang in there with me. And they've been with me through so much. And
absolutely.
Definitely blessed to.
How were they there were you in the business when you had your cancer journey?
I sure was.
Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Because I remember they were with you when you guys went on your trip and they were so supportive. It was so cool. I would see people and hear comments and stuff. That was awesome.
Yeah. So they've seen my life just completely change. So it's been nothing but
they're
amazing.
Like little cheerleaders in your backyard.
I know. The dogs.
I know. I love it. I love it. Taryn, tell us about you.
Yes. My name is Taryn Teclaw. I'm 37. I grew up in Santa Maria, lived there the majority of my life with a short, kind of long stint in San Diego. Went to school down there lived down there for 12 years.
Wow.
Yes. I recently got married in July, so coming up on our 1 year anniversary.
I remember that. So exciting. And it was where was it?
We eloped in the Sequoia National Park.
Okay. Awesome. It was such a great pictures.
Yes, except for it was a heat wave and it was 114 the one day that we decided to get married. It's so hard to look pretty in 114 degree
you're like,
weather.
I'm sweating.
Yes, it was horrible.
Oh.
So, yes.
But you're married?
Yes, married.
Married.
His name is Max. Hello, Max.
Hi, Max. You're awesome. We love you.
I've worked at Rugged Radios, which is a local place here in the Central Coast in Rio Grande. Been there for almost 7 years. I work in sales.
Wow.
Love my job.
That's great. That's awesome. Yes. That's so cool. Love it. I love just to hear about, where you come from, all that good stuff. It's a small community that we live in. So, somebody's going to know somebody, that's just the way it goes. So let's get right into it. Let's talk a little bit about your journeys. And one of the main reasons that I asked the two of them here is because they're veteran recipients. So they've already been on their trip. They've already been on their journey, their cancer journey. So they've been cancer-free for some time now. So that's something to be excited about, right?
Absolutely.
So it's the best news ever. But I just wanted to kind of do a little comparison because for people out there that don't know about breast cancer, how it can be so different.
Absolutely.
The different comparisons and the different things. So tell me, Jenny, when you got diagnosed, how old were you?
I was diagnosed when I was 32.
32
So that
years
was
old.
2014 I was diagnosed.
Okay. And what was tell me how that happened? Because at 32, that's not even in the mammogram age group. That's not even in any of that. So how on earth did you find this?
I was actually on vacation up in Tahoe, and I was having some pains in my left breast, and I was just thought maybe, I had pulled something, who knows, But as I was in the shower, of course, you
Do your
can kind of
self-exam.
feel, you
Yep.
know, okay, there's something there. What is that? And got back from our vacation. And like I said, I'm a dog groomer, right? And I
Right.
have some doctor clients. And I was at a client's house actually that week. And I said, can you just feel this real quick and tell me if this is something I need to investigate a little more? And sure enough, he kind of was like, okay. He goes, yeah. He goes, by the next time you come back to groom Princess, you better have that looked at. So I had 4 weeks to figure out what's going on before I went, back to groom his dog. So
That's crazy.
yeah. And
Crazy. Did you have a long way to get in? Did you get in right away?
I
Did
actually
they,
got in right away because
of who you knew, the dog groomer guy or the person you were grooming their dog?
Well, yeah,
sorta?
kind of, sort of. Yeah. My dad's also part of Mission Hope and Marion
Gotcha.
Hospital. So, he's knocking at everybody's door.
Sure.
You get my daughter in now. So
Yeah.
I think, my dad is nothing but a blessing.
That's amazing.
And so I was pushed in and did the mammogram and stuff. And then of course, then they want to do a biopsy because,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not looking too good. So did the biopsy and I was actually then called back into my doctor's office probably within like 2 or 3 weeks after that. I mean, it was just like boom, boom, boom. And I went by myself because I didn't think.
You didn't think anything about it.
I'm too young. I didn't
too.
I didn't think. I was
Right?
by
Yeah,
myself.
I did too.
Yeah.
And
Because you're not thinking.
No.
You're not thinking. That's not really registering in your brain.
right.
Because it's probably the first mammogram that you ever had.
Right.
So that's an experience all in itself,
Right.
And then, so you go back in, and you don't think that they're calling you like right away.
Right.
Like, so no news is good news, kind
Right.
of the
Yeah.
the way they say it.
Right. Exactly.
So you go in, and they are.
Yeah, they got my doctor in there and he's like, he goes, I just want to let you know that it did come back positive. You do have breast cancer. And I mean, what do you do? I mean, I got the chills just now, just even saying that, it's just
I know.
unreal. And he goes, your dad's outside waiting for you outside the door. So they had actually told my dad
Before they told you.
They told me, so I wasn't alone.
Nice.
And so here comes.
It's not nice,
yeah,
but
no. But Dad came in and yeah,
Wow.
it was reality
Wow.
and hit hard.
Unreal. It does. It hits super hard. Do you mind telling us your journey, Taryn, just how it all transpired and how old you were?
Yeah. So I was 34. Very similar. I was in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
And, just you're always
Totally.
taught when
Yeah.
you're in the shower, you're in there, you give yourself, your, self-exam.
The soap and stuff.
Yeah,
kind of.
exactly.
Mhm.
So I was doing that and I had gotten out and I remember just lifting my arm up and I'm like, gosh, that does not look right.
Mm.
It looked like it was, not misshaped, I guess, but it looked off. And so I remember I had just moved in with my now husband. We were like 3 weeks into just moving in.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. And I go in, he's in the bedroom and I'm like, can you look at this? He's such a dude. He's like, what am I looking at?
What am I looking at?
Exactly. My sister.
Sorry for laughing.
Yeah. Oh, no, I've always been
Oh,
one for
gosh.
laughter. My sister has worked for a gynecologist for probably 15 plus years. So I get her on FaceTime and I was just like, hey, is this something that,
Yeah. I should be worried. I'm concerned.
Exactly. And she goes, yeah, it doesn't look right. She's like, if I were you, I would go to your gynecologist first thing in the morning, right when they open up at 8 a.m. and just ask for a breast exam. And that's exactly what I did. And I went in the next day, asked for a breast exam, and he was like, all right, we need to get you in to get scans and a mammogram, ultrasound. And thank goodness
wow.
I was actually able to get into DMI that day for them.
That's a miracle.
Yes. And that
That
was on a
never happened.
Wednesday. Yeah. I had my biopsy by Friday and I knew by Monday. And I went by myself as well.
Mm-hmm. So, and did they treat you any different or anything like that? Or did they call you? They called and said, no, we need to see you, make an appointment. And then they told you?
So my gynecologist said, well, the biopsy will be on Friday. Why don't we just go ahead and set the appointment for Monday? And regardless, I'll have either, good or bad news to share with you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went in that Monday and he had shared with me that I was, diagnosed with breast cancer.
What on earth? And you're by yourself because obviously you're not thinking that that's
Right.
going to happen.
Mhm.
And so you're just blown away. Do you remember what the first thoughts? What are your thoughts, your feelings at that moment? Do you remember? I mean, you're overwhelmed with so much. And I don't know if you were like anything like I was, I remember hearing one word and then everything else, I just completely turned it off. I'm so glad that there was another person in there because it was overwhelming the amount of information that you get.
Yes.
And it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of big words being thrown out. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not to say that I'm, not, this bright as crayon,
new.
but I mean, there were some strong medical terms being thrown out that I didn't know what they meant. And that was, really scary for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they didn't really go into all the medical big words with me that day. It was just more of letting it sink in, Yeah.
You're like, and how do you how does that sink in? It's just so denial, or
I don't think it's really real
no.
Yeah.
for quite a few days.
Yeah, exactly.
When you can really tell other people and then you're like, wait a minute, like this is actually for real.
Yeah.
And then they're setting up the appointments and you're like, wow, this is really happening.
And it seems like it's, did you ever feel like a number, I guess? Did you feel like you were being taken care of like a person that is going through a life-threatening illness?
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
Well, I was treated amazing. Yeah.
I
I
love to
really,
hear
I
that.
really felt like I
So
was,
was Ryan.
the focus was on me.
Yep. And Ryan was like the only one in the whole room.
Yeah.
And I have heard of people that have been going to a biopsy or going to a mammogram and they feel different because the technician is going,
Oh yeah.
let's take you in a different room or let's do this. And they're like, this is, I don't know that this is right. Like this, you almost know before you know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh no.
Right.
So like when I had my biopsy, the doctor called me into his office. I can't remember his name. I feel so terrible. Sonobin.
Don't even
Dr.
worry.
Sonobin. Well, he calls me in and showing me the images and he looks at me and he goes, honey, I just want to let you know that no matter what happens, you're going to be okay. And you're going to come out through, you're going to be just fine. He goes, I just want to let you know, my wife is a breast cancer survivor, Tammy Sonobin. And she is doing amazing. She's a yoga teacher and blah, blah, blah. He goes, your images look identical to hers.
What?
So that's his way of kind of like telling me, but not telling me. So,
Sure.
I mean, I was blessed to have such
That's
amazing
so
people,
good,
doctors
though.
and stuff kind of preparing me.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is so good because the last thing you want to be is, just filed through like a number,
Right.
and that's
Right.
horrible feeling.
It
But, okay, so let's talk a little bit about your regimen. Okay, so what were you diagnosed with? Tell me, Jenny.
Ductal carcinoma.
And was it staged?
I was staged. I was like, I would say close to a 3. I had actually like 5 multiple tumors that were clumped together. So, and because being young, our cancers are fast growing because we're healthy. Unlike sometimes older people, their cancers aren't quite as fast.
Didn't know
But
that.
definitely younger people tend to have more aggressive
Cancer. Interesting. Were you, when you were diagnosed, were you told at that point that you were like, I don't even know what it is, triple negative, triple positive, HER2?
Yeah, I was a triple negative.
Triple negative.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
triple negative. I was a wild card.
Oh, is that what they call you?
Mm-hmm. Wild card.
A wild card. That's the first time I've heard that. So triple negative, which means it does not it's not hormone.
It's not estrogen driven, right? Yeah, I wouldn't have to be on tamoxifen later in life after my treatments and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So in other words, like the protocol for it, you would probably have to get your ovaries out later on.
Right.
So you were safe. You didn't
I was
have
safe.
that.
Just focus on the breast.
Okay. Okay. So then let me go a little bit deeper into your story because at what point you had breast cancer and then had River?
That would be, I would say, 6 years after my treatments and cancer and stuff.
Okay.
I actually had River, no treatments, all natural, just
That's
healthy
amazing.
baby boy. Yeah.
And that what are the statistics on that, or did you just not even bother looking at that? You just
I didn't
thought,
really.
I really want to have a child. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah, exactly. Because it can happen after treatments. But I did actually go see a fertility doctor just to kind of see if what I looked like on the inside, because I was curious, too,
Sure.
just after going through everything. Because I didn't save eggs or anything. So
Did you do Lupron?
No.
Oh, wow.
No.
God, you're so lucky.
Yeah,
Very blessed.
I am. I was
See,
very
this
lucky.
is so interesting because I think a lot of people need to know that all
It
breast
can happen.
cancers are different. They're
Right.
just different.
Right.
So,
Because I went through some heavy chemotherapy. So, I mean,
and what was
considering
your regimen like? Tell me about.
I-
You don't have to tell me the drugs because those are hard names.
yeah,
I don't even know the
I
name.
want to say the first 2 months was the heaviest. That's where they just get you,
So was it like a week on or was it?
It was every 2 weeks.
Oh, every 2
It was
weeks.
every 2 weeks for like the first like 4 rounds, or yeah, I want to say it was probably about the first 4 rounds was every 2 weeks. And
Okay.
that was really heavy because they can only give it to you every 2 weeks because
Okay.
they give you that week to kind of get your body back.
Sure.
And then after that, I want to say I did like 3 months of weekly treatments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was that so do you remember how many rounds you did altogether?
God, I want to say 14,
my God.
something like that. Yeah.
14 rounds.
Right.
And then did you have to do radiation?
I did have to do radiation.
Okay, so you
And-
did
mhm,
treatment
mhm.
and then you did a double mastectomy
I did a double mastectomy. Yeah.
and then radiation.
And then I did radiation. Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And radiation, I want to say, was like what, 6 weeks? 6 or
But
8
it's
weeks.
every day, Monday through
it's
Friday.
It's every day.
Every day.
Yep.
I don't know. It makes me mad a little bit that people say, oh, radiation's it's the easy part. No, it's not the easy part.
Right.
Like none of it's easy, but I just felt like there was a lot because I read up on radiation because we had seen some little things happen with Ryan and he was kind of slipping into a little bit of depression and a little bit more emotional
Mhm.
and massive like burns and the skin pigment
Mhm.
was different. It was
Mhm.
just it was crazy, but his was 6 weeks, Monday through
Yeah,
Friday.
right.
And it literally was only 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
It wasn't long.
No,
it was
wasn't long.
just
Yeah.
tedious.
Right.
And so like and it just wore him out.
Yeah.
You were tired.
Exhausting.
Mhm.
It is. It is.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's get a little bit more into your journey, Taryn. Like what when they told you, what's the actual diagnosis?
Yeah. So I was stage 3 as well. I was
This is so
ductal
weird.
carcinoma,
Mm.
but I was HER2 triple positive.
Okay.
So she was
I
negative.
was negative. She's positive.
Triple positive.
Yeah, HER2 positive as well.
HER2 positive as well, which means
mine is completely 100% hormone driven.
so that means if you're on any what is
Birth control. Yeah, you name it. All
Off.
those things off. Yep.
and really
completely.
the long protocol is all ovaries out, all everything.
Yep.
Everything.
Mhm.
Okay, and you're 34 years old.
34 years old.
You have a new boyfriend, live-in boyfriend that
Yes.
is going to, I mean, obviously they're married now, but so what are I mean, did they talk about kids? Did they talk about freezing eggs or?
Yeah. So freezing eggs was not an option
Okay.
because they have to pump you with the hormones in order to have the egg retrieval. So
wow.
that wasn't an option. They
Yeah.
did give me a Lupron option, and I decided to go against the Lupron option just because it was just already so many drugs. And it was kind of to the point where, if it happens, it happens. If
Sure.
it doesn't, it doesn't, you
Yep.
know. And,
No, I get it.
I mean, it's very upsetting now. I would have loved to have been a mom, but at the same time, I mean, I'm on the right side of the ground. So I guess,
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Focus on you being here.
yeah.
That's
exactly.
right. That's right. Okay, so do you know anything else about that drug? What's it called?
Lupron. So what
Lupron.
it does is it puts your ovaries to sleep.
Oh,
So the chemo
yes.
does not affect
Oh, wow.
the ovaries.
I've heard this.
Yes, and then you can do that. And there's also a shot they can give you. I can't remember
Yeah.
it.
No worries. Okay.
But so I mean, they give you a couple options. Like I said, I declined mine.
Okay.
I did 6 rounds of 2 different types of chemos.
Okay.
I did carboplatinum and I forget the other one.
Right. And was it every?
Taxotere.
Oh, okay.
Taxotere. And then I had to do 2 hormone drugs. So yeah, Herceptin and Perjeta. So I sat in the chemo chair every 3 weeks. I had to do it for
3 weeks.
God, between 5 and 7 hours, getting all 4 at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, your treatments are completely different than mine.
Yeah. So
Totally.
every 3 weeks.
And you're there all day long.
all day.
All day long.
Yeah.
Every 3 weeks. Oh my gosh.
So I did the 6 rounds of chemo, and then I had to do a year
of the maintenance of the
Herceptin and the Perjeta.
because that's her too, and
Mhm.
also because it's hormone driven, right?
Yep.
Both of them.
Exactly.
Okay, but those, what's the? Tell us about that. Like, did it was a pill? Was it actually infusion? How did that
Actually,
work?
infusions.
Okay.
Yes. So after I had finished the chemo side of things, is when I was able to finally. I had my double mastectomy and reconstruction. I'm very lucky to get that done on the same day. I was a candidate for that.
Okay, some people aren't. Yes,
exactly.
Okay.
So I was a candidate for that on September 5th. And then I immediately started radiation. I did 6 weeks as well. But then I had to do the full year. I mean, my mastectomy was done in September, but my hormone treatment still went until April. So
Right.
I was still there every,
How'd
every
that
3
make you
weeks.
feel?
Well, the Herceptin and the Perjeta, the side effects aren't nearly as bad as like your chemo. If
Sure.
anything, it just makes you so lethargic.
Mm.
It's, especially mixing that with the radiation.
Yeah.
that
Where do you know
was-
it's coming
Yeah,
from?
Right.
exactly. That was extra.
Because I
rough.
feel like you were super tired with just the radiation alone, and then you had
Yeah.
that to it. Oh my gosh! And are not everybody is a candidate for that for radiation and doing that maintenance chemo?
Well, no, if
Or it
you
wasn't
are
chemo.
HER2
What was it?
positive,
Uh-huh.
I mean, everybody that I've ever known, that's not to say that I mean, I'm not a doctor.
No,
but
but
they've always done the
they've done
Herceptin
that.
and the Perjeta. Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm telling you, it's so different.
Yeah.
It's so different. Now, were you a candidate? Did you get your double mastectomy and your implants the same day?
No, no, I had to wait. Yeah, I didn't get my implants until after my radiation was over.
Okay, so
Yeah.
do you know what the reason is? Because I've always wanted to know and never knew who to ask.
Well, because when you have your breast mound taken out
Yes.
and all the tissues and everything taken out, they put in something called an expander.
Expander, yeah.
Right. So then you have to go through this process of having those in. So you're going through 6 weeks of that as
Yeah.
well. So you have to go weekly to the doctor to have them inflate them so your
Sure.
skin can stretch. While doing that during radiation, you can't go off and put implants in because radiation will
Yeah,
take the implant.
totally.
So, we had to wait until after the radiation was done to be able to go in and to take out the expanders, which have now stretched the skin and have settled, with the tissue and
Sure.
stuff. And then they can go in and actually put the implants in.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, you can't have
Yeah.
implants until really after radiation or else
That's
it'll
crazy.
damage the
Okay.
implant.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
I'm just like
I
blown
think a lot
away.
of it has to come down to just, personal preference and what type of skin you have.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I did my radiation
With
with my implants in.
in.
And you did
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
And I'm sure it
And it
depends
is
on
a
the
personal
doctors
thing,
too,
too.
and how the
Totally.
doctors think that you can handle things.
Totally.
and-
But I mean, I've dealt with a lot of different people that have had, breast cancer, and all of them are different. And there's nothing the same as far as
yeah.
I didn't have some of them. So you didn't ever have expanders?
No.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people that haven't had the expanders because of whatever reason that is, because they were a candidate to actually do that, the
Direct
reconstruction
implant.
mhm, right then and there. So it's very interesting and not. I don't. Somebody has always asked me like, what is it? I said I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just I think it's
that's
a
a good
personal preference.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's a preference as far as the doctor or if it's everybody's just different.
Yeah, everybody's
And-
body is built differently
Yeah.
too. So I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, what one can handle, another one probably
Right,
couldn't. So it
exactly.
is. It is so crazy, so crazy. So have you gotten your? Have they done anything like taken out your ovaries? Did a hysterectomy? All that.
yes.
Okay.
I did have an oophorectomy done, which is just the ovaries and the tubes.
Ovaries. Okay.
I had that done in May of 2020.
Literally, you have been like doing something
Mhm.
since what is it? How many years has this process been?
Well, diagnosed March 13th of 2019.
March 13th. March in 2013. That's
Mhm.
crazy. to me.
2019.
2019. Oh,
Mhm.
2019. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then how often do you have to get checked? Like as your routine?
I
'Cause-
still see my oncologist every 3 months.
Okay. And do they do what do they do in that 3 months? Do they do like a check, a scan? Do they do blood work or all of it?
Yeah, all the above.
Oh.
Mm.
Yep. And I also have to do bone density like
Oh.
tests and stuff like that, because I am on tamoxifen, and tamoxifen can cause problems. Like, it's pretty much, I mean, I'm 37 now, but I mean, if you were to look at, my blood work, or, everything is, it's probably like a, 55, 60-year-old woman.
Mm-hmm. That would be.
I make my mom buy my multivitamins because I have to buy 55 plus.
I love it. The things we have to do, or that our body endures.
Yeah.
Like, we are so fortunate that we're just so resilient that we can actually, do this.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think about it like with Ryan's situation, he had the sarcoma. And so it is what they did with him. It like 25, 30 years ago, it didn't exist.
Right.
They would have had to take his leg, and that was it. That
Right.
was, crazy stuff. So, technology has come so far.
Right.
So far, and the drugs they use are still the same, but the cocktails that they use
Right.
is
Trust the science.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
God gave us science.
That's
Use it.
right. And they are using it so much.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to see, that's why I like to talk about the regimen and how they did it and what they, and what one, recommended versus the other. And it's very interesting. But I do have to say, usually the breast it's chemo, it's surgery, and then it's radiation.
Mhm.
That's usually the protocol. Very rarely do I hear people that don't do radiation,
Mhm.
but that's usually what the protocol
Right.
is.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you go, what state you're from. Usually that is the typical protocol.
Right.
Whether it's doesn't matter the stage. But I do know that even some of them go into like stage 2B.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know what that means.
No.
But yeah. What
I
is your
mean, I was always, the way that I had learned is like 2A and then 2B, B meaning that it's hit the lymph nodes already.
Oh, the lymph nodes.
Yes.
Okay. See?
What I always was taught.
Okay. And yours was 3 though. Yours was stage
3B.
3B. Oh, 3B. Okay. So then it hit lymph nodes.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Gotcha. Now, any side effects from any of that? Because I know that lymphedema is a
Mhm.
big one where
Right.
you have to wear compression stuff. Has any of that been an issue with either of you?
I've had a little bit of issues with my left arm with the lymphedema. It hasn't swelled, but it gets really sore. Like, if I hold
Gotcha.
something in a certain position for too long, like say my son when he was little, I had to wear my compression sleeve all the time when I had him first.
Oh.
Until I can put him down and not have to hold him anymore, my arm has gotten so much better.
Wow.
But the pain, like, it hurts. It gets
It does.
very sore. Even just
Grooming a dog.
or holding something for just a few minutes, and then you're just,
Interesting.
it's like, oh, I got to kind of put that down and shake
Relax.
it off.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
there is some damage on that one because I did
Okay.
have some lymph nodes removed as well because
Okay.
one did come back positive because it had spread in those tentacles, but luckily it was just one. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
they
So
did take quite a few out of that arm.
Wow. Okay. And any effects on you, or you're good? Like, I know some people say tingling.
No tingling. It definitely sore. I
Mm-hmm.
find that sometimes if like when you fall asleep weird and your arm wakes up.
Oh, yeah.
That's how.
Well, if I fall asleep with like my arm at an angle or something and not straight, and I
Mm-hmm.
sleep like that, I'll wake up and it's
Sore.
beyond sore. Yes.
Gotcha.
So I had I think it was 6 lymph nodes removed on the affected side, and then 3 preventatively
Mhm.
removed on
Oh,
the other
Mhm.
side.
interesting. Okay. That's very interesting.
Mhm.
And did you say you guys had the same doctor?
We had the same oncologist. Yeah, we had April Kennedy, and then your surgeon was also Rocco, you said?
No, I had Hayashi.
Oh, Hayashi.
Hayashi.
Sorry.
Yeah, Hayashi. Okay. And Rocco is no longer here, which is a bummer.
Oh, yeah. She went to
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah.
Shame on her.
I know. Shame on her. And in my eyes, a whole nother set of lenses is she has a child that's Ryan's age, or would have been
Right.
Ryan's age.
Yeah,
And
she does.
so she would, she texted me and emailed me and said, hey, I'm going to be spreading the word in Texas. So I'm like, yes.
Oh,
Yeah. So I love that when people do go out, they
Yeah, she's
can
amazing.
spread the word and stuff. So
Mhm.
it's really, she is amazing. She's
Mhm.
great. So, but Hayashi's great too. We love him, and he's a great guy in the whole community and just does amazing stuff. So I love it. There's not, I just like to hear, the stories and
Mhm.
different things like that. So it's awesome. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about your guys' journey.
Mhm.
I want to just talk about like maybe support group or support systems around you. How did you feel? I know your dad, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But how did you feel supported? Did you have a good support team around you?
I did. Like my clients, were
Sure.
amazing. My dad and my family was amazing. I was unfortunately with somebody at the time that, what he could do to support me, but we're not together anymore because it just didn't work out. But
thanks so much for saying that, because that happens.
it does.
It happens,
Cancer can change a lot, not just you.
It
but
changes everything
everybody
about you
around you.
physically and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah. It was just not the right person.
It wasn't. And actually, if it wasn't for my cancer, I wouldn't be where I'm at today, having my son and being married. And it just, I am where I'm at today because of my cancer. But my friends were amazing. I had a handful of girls that would come over. We'd have paint parties at the house. We would sit in the backyard and paint nails because I couldn't really do a whole lot because I did not feel well. I had a girlfriend who took me to every single radiation appointment, so I wasn't alone.
This was prior to COVID, everyone.
Yeah, oh yes, yes. And so, it just, I was blessed for my girlfriends.
But you know what? And you do find out who your true friends are. You do. And I think that is, it's a blessing. Yeah. And I'm so thankful that you were surrounded, even though the guy was not the right person. You realize that. Right. You know that in the middle of the storm. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Kind of had to get through that storm first before I said,
I'm done.
I got to go.
Right.
There's something else for me out there that I'm supposed to be here for.
Yes, absolutely. And you do. It's prioritizing life, because life is precious and it's short, and you need to live it. And you guys all had a second chance. So it's you're gonna use it. Absolutely. And, absolutely. So what about you, Taryn?
Yes. So I had stated that I had just moved in with my, now husband, then boyfriend. Can you talk
about Max just a minute? Can we talk about Max?
Yes, absolutely.
I love this guy so much because he's been through so much. And I feel like talk about him for a minute. I'm sorry.
So my husband, Max, had a stroke when he was 16 years old. And so they didn't know it was a stroke. It's unheard of for that to happen for anybody at that age. And he lost everything. Mobility, speech, and pretty much had to do tons and tons of rehab. Yeah. And he never really got full mobility back on his right-hand side.
Okay.
And so his speeches, I would have known the difference.
Sure.
But he does... You can tell, physically that he does have a couple, small little handicaps, but nothing that would ever
he hikes and does all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. He works harder than anybody else that I've ever known, and so.
I love that.
Yes.
So you met them, go ahead.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh no. I remember we had just moved in together, and my dad, sat us down and he was like, son, he's like, we love you, but we understand. Like, if you want to step away, do it now and not in the end.
Yeah.
And so he was like, nope, I'm not going anywhere. I've got her back. I'm here for the long haul. And he really was. And he had the patience with me. Right. And then he understood, the different, difficulties of things that, sometimes I just couldn't do.
Yeah.
And so he was always very supportive.
That's amazing. And do you mind going into your cancer club?
Yes.
I don't know what you call it. Cancer club. That's what you called it.
That's what we call it. The cancer club. A little morbid, but that's what we are.
But that's,
group of girls that I went to high school with and grew up with, all diagnosed under the age of 35 with breast cancer or we do have different kinds. But they were there through everything, every step of the way. You think sometimes with different side effects, you're like, God, I'm the only one. And sometimes they can get a little embarrassing.
Yeah.
And you don't want to talk about it because heaven forbid,
I know.
you are the only one.
Yeah.
But you're not.
You're not.
You were able to, express whatever I needed to with these girls.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, that happened to me too. This is how you can help fix it. And, they were there through everything, and they still are, to this day. So I love it.
Yes, I do. I like that there is so much support around you, because I've had people that have told me, yeah, this is what I signed up for. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, okay. Well, yeah, not the idea that you want, especially in, like I said, in the middle of that storm. But I am so thankful that you had those people because, again, you find out who your true friends are.
Right.
And a lot of times they don't know what to do. But in your case,
Yeah.
they knew they had maybe gone a little bit before your journey and knew what to
Exactly.
expect. And then also you could help with those people that need, that had different symptoms or
Right.
whatever with you
Right.
with it. So I feel like it is good for people to be a little bit more transparent because I do have a lot of people that don't want to talk about it because it's a little violating, but I feel like if you can inspire somebody, then it's helpful, or you can talk about
Absolutely.
that openly,
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I feel like that's what we're here for is to try to help somebody out. So that's super cool. And I feel like support and mindset is such a big deal. Like I feel like it's 90% of it because if you have a terrible mindset, and of course we all have bad days. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm just saying that if you have a really good mindset to go, okay, I got to walk through this. I'm going to go, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to live life. Like I am going to do this to the fullest. I feel like there's so much more.
Good that's going to come out of it.
Yes.
Oh, most definitely.
Absolutely.
Most
So
definitely.
anyway, it makes me excited that you guys had that because but thank you for
I did have a couple women who had been through breast cancer that I would reach out to, like you said.
Yes.
What is this going on?
Uh-huh.
In certain areas where you're like, what? And
Yeah.
it is, it's nice to have someone to talk to.
It is. And maybe not call it support group because Taryn calls her friends support group, but
see,
it's
I wish
really
I would
not.
have had something like that.
It's,
But I had like two women, that were, a part of my life too, because I sat next to her in the chair, She
Yeah.
was just like maybe 3 weeks ahead of me in her treatment. So
Okay.
I would follow her and be like, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? So.
That's so true. That's so true. Nice to have that.
Yeah, it can be a very scary time. So when you, like you said, if you know kind of what's going to happen next,
Right.
it makes it a little less scary. Like I
Totally.
had two girls who were, HER2 triple positive, and they would tell me like, hey, fifth treatment's going to be the biggest butt kicker.
Right.
Gotcha.
And I'm thinking like worse than what,
Right?
treatment 1
Yeah.
or 4 were. And they're
Right.
like, yeah, treatment 5 is, was where we
hardest.
hit rock bottom. And I was like, okay then. And I remember treatment 5 came around, and I usually felt pretty good the couple days afterwards because you're all pumped up with all those
Yes.
steroids and stuff
Yes.
like that. And I hit my rock bottom, and it really was like
Yeah.
they were right. You really did hit your rock bottom a
Sure.
time.
And I mean, yeah, exactly. And I know that they can actually determine like the day that you lose your hair, like, or you're starting to lose your hair. I mean, it blows my mind to go, okay, well, at treatment 2 and,
Right.
probably the second week, you're going to, lose your hair. And that's
Right.
pretty devastating for everybody. Really, I can't even imagine. I've heard a couple of people like Laura who's like, yeah, it was fine, and she just embraced it. But it's very few and far between because it is hard. It's just hard. It's another thing that's taken away from you, and, being girls, it's a little bit more, guys, it doesn't matter that much, but
people look at you a little more, when you're out,
absolutely.
you're like, oh, they staring at me.
They are. and you at that point look sick.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I remember when Ryan would look, it was pasty. He looked a little pasty. His skin looked pasty. And that was always hard, when you didn't have the eyebrows or,
The steroids are bloating you.
and they are. You look puffy. You
Yeah.
you have this classic look almost,
Right.
which makes me sad. It makes me sad but there was days where, man, I was so excited just to go to the restaurant because you're like, I need to get out of this house just to go to the restaurant. And, and because your immune system was down, like you said before, there's just, you didn't get to do a lot, So when you got to go out, you were like, yes, I need some fresh air. I need to do something. But
I lost my taste buds. Did you lose your taste buds?
Oh, yeah.
So I
Feels like-
remember, it was like metal, almost
Metal.
metallic-y. And so the first 2 weeks was just horrific. And you're just eating just to survive. It
Sure.
was like,
Nothing
so by the
tastes good.
third week when the taste buds came back, I remember I'd be like, okay, well, I want In-N-Out.
like craving.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the comfort food.
Exactly. I was like, and then afterwards we're going to get, Baskin Robbins.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's so
I'd get
funny.
so excited because then come the next week, treatment, boom, they're
You're
gone
eating
again.
ice and
So
grapes.
true.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Ice on grapes.
That is so funny. Yeah. Ryan had cravings too, and they were super funny because he'd be like, don't come back without a corn dog. I'm like,
Oh,
the state fair's not around. Like,
funny.
where am I going to get a corn dog at? You know? So it was funny, but he did have really good cravings. But he did say that the taste buds were like nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you guys did COVID before COVID, really.
Exactly, right?
A little bit of isolation. You like were like, making sure everything was, wiped down and washing your hands and then taste buds.
Being
and all this.
isolated.
I know. All these crazy things.
Been quarantined before.
Yeah, I know. You're like, I did that way before. But anyway.
Not for 2 weeks.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. I know. That's so true. So true. Okay, so let's get into 17 Strong a little bit. How did you hear about us?
Actually,
I sought you out, by the way.
Yeah, you did. So I was an ambassador for Day of Hope for Santa Maria, and Lindsay.
Love Lindsay.
I can't remember Lindsay's last name, but yeah, Lindsay.
Yep.
Nurse navigator.
Love her.
She actually called me and she says, Jen, she goes, I just want to let you know you're going to be getting a call from the Teixeiras. And she goes, do you know who they are? And I said, no. And she goes, yeah. She goes, they're a foundation that gives trips to people who have survived cancer. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's really cool. And then an hour later. I got a call from you.
An hour later, I had no idea.
It was the same day, so it was boom, 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 because it was the day of Mission Hope. I mean, the day of hope that you had called because you had seen me either on the news or you saw the paper or whatever. So you had called me that day, and I was talking to you, and I remember being kind of surreal, like, "What is this? Is this really happening?" Like, and then we hung up, and I called my husband, and I'm like, yeah, I got this call from a lady who wants to give me a trip. Like, what is this? You don't think it's really going to happen because it's like winning the lottery.
Oh, you're so cute. Oh my gosh.
You're
I
just
love
like,
that.
oh, we'll see what happens, And it happened. And
What?
she's like, you like, well, where do you want to go? I don't know.
I don't know.
It was just crazy. Yeah. So, but yeah, when we finally figured out where we wanted to go, it was the Bahamas.
So amazing.
Yeah.
And tell us why you wanted to go to the Bahamas.
I wanted to be a kid. I wanted to play. I love my son, but I wanted to play alone with my husband and be in the water. I love the ocean. I love slides and playing and running and I'm just a big kid at heart. So
that's awesome.
And to be able to do it is.
What was your highlight?
Oh gosh.
Come on.
The dolphins.
That's what I wanted to hear.
The dolphins.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
So I got to swim with
see
the
your
dolphins.
pictures and I just think, oh my gosh, she's beaming right now.
Yeah.
She is
Swimming with the
just beaming.
dolphins. Yeah.
That's the
To
best.
hold them and just feel them next to your skin like that. And it was such an amazing experience at the Blue Lagoon.
Right.
Unreal.
Oh my gosh, you went to the Blue Lagoon. So did you. Oh my gosh.
Little different.
Lot different.
She said Blue Lagoon. I'm thinking, oh.
Let's talk to you. I know, it made me like, okay, Taryn. Okay, how'd you hear about us? 17 Strong. Tell me.
I grew up here. So, I knew of Ryan's story and everything, prior to ever being diagnosed with cancer. So I had, come out and supported different events and baseball games and stuff like that, just as it's a small town. We always come together when,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're so right. Yep.
And so that's how I had figured it out, like just different events, I should say. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of my close girlfriends in my cancer club, she actually had a victory trip a year prior.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ashley from Mission Hope said, hey, I put you in the running for something, it's a victory trip through 17 Strong. And I'm just like, really? Like, okay. Like, I'm not sure if I was like deserving of it, but sure.
I do feel that way.
Yeah. He was like,
Why me?
Yeah. There's probably someone else out there who,
so deserving. I think that's amazing.
Yes. And then you had called me.
Oh, and what was the time? Hers was an hour. What was yours? Curious.
Mine was a couple days later.
Okay.
Yes. Because I remember we met at the Coffee Bean.
Yes.
Over.
I met her at Coffee Bean too.
Oh, perfect.
Yep, I did. It was different days though, I know, because that is kind of my place that I try. But okay, I met you there and we chatted. And what did you pick?
Iceland.
And why did you pick Iceland?
The Northern Lights.
And did you see them?
I did.
Awesome.
Yes. Magical.
Magical.
Magical. Yes.
So amazing.
Don't go to Iceland for the food. I mean,
Yeah, ramen noodles.
yes. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, how's the food?" Because you think you go to like Europe, you're
You're on vacation.
You're eating your way.
No,
No.
not so much. I mean,
Not
you're
so
on a
much.
very small island, and but yeah, the Northern Lights it was beyond magical.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
And I went to the Blue Lagoon too. A little different.
A lot different.
Yes.
Blue Lagoon that actually is, isn't it known for like something in the water that's supposed to be healing, right?
Yes.
Something like that.
It's all filled with silicone, so it's good for your skin.
Oh my
and
gosh.
everything. Yes, and it's about 30 kilometers away from the actual like active volcano.
Mhm.
So that's what heats it.
It's
and
amazing.
it's just it was beautiful.
Wow.
So amazing.
beautiful.
Did your skin feel different like after?
Yes, I actually went to the gift shop afterwards, and I'm like, I'm going to take that and that.
Oh,
Take it
yes.
all home with me.
Yeah, take it
Yes.
all home with me.
All of it. That is
Loved it.
amazing. What was your favorite part? I mean, obviously the Northern Lights, but it seemed like you guys hiked to different
We did.
waterfalls. You
Mhm.
did like so many things. And by the way, I feel like I need to go to Iceland just because I just didn't know all the scenery was so gorgeous.
Yes. My husband and I are both very outdoorsy people. I mean, we love camping on our free time and
Yeah.
hiking. And so I wanted to do something very active.
Mhm.
We got to see quite a few waterfalls, Black Sand Beach.
That was cool.
We did Glacier but the people of Iceland are they're very welcoming and they're
Oh, I
like,
love
there was this new, spa over here. I swear, all they do is just drink and float. I'm like, sign me up.
Sign me up.
Totally.
Sign me up.
That's why I like the Atlantis. Put,
Yeah.
put me on that river.
I
Yep.
love it.
Drink and float. I'm like, all right, give me a glass of champagne or a nice
Yeah.
cold beer, and I'll float.
I'll
Where are we
float.
going?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yes.
It was awesome. So, and you were also ambassador for Day of Hope as well.
Yes, the year after.
Was it?
Yes.
I was like, I did not know that. I did not
Mhm.
know that. And we have another one too, another ambassador, but she has not gone on her victory trip yet. So, and probably because the last 2 years they didn't have one
Right.
because of COVID and different things. I don't know.
Yeah, they did miss a year.
They did.
I believe
Okay.
so. Yeah.
They postponed it.
Did they?
Postponed it?
They
Is that what it was?
postponed it, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I'm thinking I don't know if I should throw her name out there, but I think because she was supposed to have hers in April and they moved it to August.
Mm.
And then they did the car show instead of the car parade instead
Sure.
of, the actual selling newspapers and
mhm.
stuff like that.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. So they did a little different
So they
thing.
can
Yes.
still get
Just
the
looked
fundraiser
different.
for
Mhm.
the
Gotcha.
Exactly, because we did
Yeah.
our big fundraiser and everything to help participate as well.
Oh,
Nice.
good. Oh, that's awesome. So that's funny that you guys have that in
Yeah,
common.
back to
Yeah,
back.
Mhm.
that is
Yeah.
so cool. Okay, so back when you guys, because you actually, Jenny, had your victory trip planned, ready to go, and COVID
Yeah,
hit.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. We had to wait.
You had tickets?
And I planned my wedding around the victory trip as well. That was our honeymoon.
funny.
So yeah, we got married in 2019, and then we were supposed to go I want to say maybe 3 months after that. We were supposed to go to Atlantis,
Yes.
the Bahamas, and
Good old COVID. I remember talking to Billy,
Yeah.
and he's like, I do not know. And the problem at that point, because when were you supposed to go? Do you remember that?
I want to say it was in January, February, like March. It was during
Yeah.
spring break. We were supposed to go.
Yeah.
Of
And
that
so-
of that year.
And the problem is that we hadn't been shut down yet. So
No.
they were worried that they were going to get there and then shut down, not be able
And
to
not
get
get
back.
back to-
And they
right.
had a 1-year-old, 2-year-old.
Yeah,
at
he
the
was
time.
like pushing 2. Yeah.
So, I mean, it was like, I go,
And
yeah,
so we canceled it before the shutdown.
that's what I thought.
And then
we
like
did.
a week later, everything
They
got
shut down. So it was a blessing that we
Yeah.
did that. And and then you didn't get to go until when?
Like, last year?
Last year. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Last year,
how it
and
all
we
worked.
ended up going in November of last year, which was actually so amazing.
Wow.
It worked out like it was supposed to, because
Yeah.
it would have been horrendous being there during
And you would have been
spring
worried.
break.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
went in
true,
November
true.
and nobody was there. It was like we had the whole water park to ourselves. It was just like
Oh,
it was
that's
meant to be,
amazing.
because like it was. I mean, even the plane, there was like nobody
Nobody.
on the plane still, because people are still kind of fearful of things.
Sure. And what was the weather like? Was it good?
Yeah, it was like in the 80s.
Oh, perfect.
It was perfect. I think it
Perfect.
rained maybe like 3 times when we were there, which was great. you
But
know?
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
But
'cause it's
that's
that
the Bahamas.
tropical.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's amazing. What was the weather like in Iceland?
Well, it was during the day, it like floated like between like 30 and 35 degrees Fahrenheit. But like the night of the Northern Lights, it got down to the teens, but the wind was about 40 to 50 miles an hour.
Ooh.
Yeah, it, like to take her gloves off to like take a picture of the Northern
you're like,
Lights. My hands were just like, "Ugh," they hurt so bad. It was worth it though.
Love that.
Yes,
Love that.
My trip got postponed a full year as well due to
Right.
COVID,
Mm-hmm.
which was crazy. Max wanted to propose in Iceland. And because it got pushed,
Wow.
he ended up just doing it, which is perfect. I wouldn't have taken it
Oh,
any
so
other way.
sweet.
But, he's like, you wanted to do it out there in the Northern Lights. And I'm so glad that he didn't, because the fact that I would have to take my glove off to put the ring on, like it was just so cold. And there's nothing cute about being like completely
Yeah.
bundled
Freezing,
up.
too.
Freezing,
Yes, layers after layers. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. So it did. It worked out great.
It did.
Because you guys were married, because you had already gotten married.
Mhm.
So it was kind of like a honeymoon almost
Yes.
to you
Us
too.
as well.
Exactly.
Us
That
as
is
well.
so cool.
it was
a
our
little bit
honeymoon.
late, but it was
We
doesn't
still
matter.
used it as our honeymoon. Yeah.
Love, love, love that. That is amazing. So are you guys believers of 17 Strong now?
Oh, 100%. Well, more than that.
That's awesome. Okay, so tell me, what did just tell me a little bit, because I know that it is hard to believe, like as somebody's talking to you, that you're going to get this trip and blah blah blah. But I mean, I like to think that we pride ourselves on trying to create this family environment of 17 Strong, and I can say that all day long, because it's my son that thought of this organization, and I get to live it out with his
Mhm.
legacy. And I always say I hate the way that we meet,
Mhm.
but you guys are like a direct connection to Ryan. So there's
Mhm.
nothing more special to me than that. But I want to know from your perspective, like what 17 Strong means to you, and if we do like a good job at trying to make you feel special, and what that looks like. So
Oh, absolutely.
go ahead, tell me
Yeah.
what you think.
Well, ever since the trip and being a recipient, it's great running into people who know that to share a family.
Mm.
And then you say, oh, well, I was a recipient. And their eyes light up like Christmas. They're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh. And to
Yeah.
see that I'm healthy and strong
Yeah,
gives so much hope for people. And
sure.
I mean, you've done fundraisers, let's just say Dutch Brothers.
Yep, Dutch Bros.
So
yeah.
I went that day for their
Mhm.
fundraiser, and just going through the line and telling each person I had talked to, which is just called people, but who I was, they just were amazed, and
Because it's a face. It's
yeah,
a face.
it's
like
exactly.
it's
They're
so
ringing
cool.
bells, or I
Yeah.
met a lady at the park 2
Yesterday,
days ago,
yeah.
that
Yeah.
knows you guys, is family actually,
So
and so
exciting.
it's just great because it keeps kind of giving.
Evolving.
It keeps giving,
Yeah. Yeah.
knowing people knowing who I am and what I've gone through now, and being
cool.
part of the Tashara family is
So cool.
a great blessing.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. What do you think, Taryn?
I mean, you really nailed it on everything that you
Mm.
just said. I mean, to feel that you have somewhere where people understand everything that you went through. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you just met today, but I completely 100% can relate to just
Yeah,
about everything
totally.
that you have gone through, and
Right.
your past, and everything. So, I mean, 17 Strong to me will always be, family.
Mm.
I've met so many people who have had victory trips, or who have donated, or, who go, and they treat you as if they're your own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
You never feel like, you never feel sick, or you were sick.
Mm.
Does
You
that
feel
make
Yeah.
sense?
special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. 'Cause for so long, you were, hi, I'm Taryn and I'm sick. I
Yeah.
have cancer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to feel special, like what you did and everything that you accomplished, I
Right.
mean, that it makes you just feel like $1,000,000.
That's awesome. So you feel like it's more than just a trip.
Right.
It's a little bit more than
Oh, it's a
that.
Yeah.
lifetime thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
That makes me feel so good, because that's what we're trying to do, And I mean, you guys have been in this for a couple years now, and you understand it. So this year, in 2022, we have approved 35 trips, the most we've ever approved
Nice.
in 1 year. So like just for where we went, where we were and now where we are, like it's growing and it's just doing amazing things, so I am just beyond excited to be able to share with so many people. Like I said, with Dr. Rocco, again, it's spreading to a different state, and by the end of this year, we'll have reached 29 states. So there's some amazing stuff like that is, it's great. And I know that it's more than a trip now, but before I did not know that. It's from you guys that have been telling me like, no, it feels different. It's so exciting that, yes, it is a neat thing that you can go on a trip and you can, experience and hope and dream and do all of that great things again. But also to kind of close that chapter and go, you know what, that chapter of cancer is not going to define who I am. It was a piece of my life story, but I'm going to move on and I'm going to, to do great things. And that's what's so special is when I see you guys living and having families and, being married and seeing you at fundraisers. Oh, it totally makes me excited that, that you guys take your time to do 17 Strong events and it's cool. So I can't thank you guys enough, but it's really cool. Do you guys have anything else to add or anything?
I mean, thank you to you and
absolutely.
To Steve.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, you make dreams come true.
Yeah,
it sounds so cheesy.
It sounds a little cliche when I say it, but when you say it, it sounds a little different just because, I'm the one that, in gifting you something, but when you say it as a recipient, it just is different. It just comes from a different perspective and a different lens. And so if you don't mind, I'm going to share with you just a few things that blessed me about each of you. So I know, right? But I think they're fun because one of the things that I wanted, Taryn, because you blessed me, and I know this is funny because it was when we came and saw you at Rugged Radio and you were sharing pictures with us. The one thing I had said to you is, why did you pick Iceland? And you're like, because I will never pay for that myself. And I love that about Taryn because that's what I want people to do is I want people not to think in this box, like to think big and think like, I wouldn't pay for that, but I would pay for Hawaii all day long, because it's tropical and it's, but Iceland's big, like it is out of the box. And that's what blessed me about you and how I love that attitude of, like I'm just going to go for it. And I love that. So that's awesome. And then with Jenny, one of the things that you had said to me is, I don't really care where I go. I just want to swim with dolphins. Yeah. And I remember researching oh my gosh, we got to take this girl on the best dolphin trip ever because that's what she wants. It didn't matter the location. It just mattered. I want to go on vacation. And I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that you hadn't been on a vacation.
No, I had never been outside the U.S.
That blessed me, that hit my heart so hard. So I was those are the things that stay with me, that just stick with me to go, wow, 17 Strong could do that for you and, and allow you to dream and hope again. And, I mean, it's amazing to me. So those are the things that you guys you guys really do have a special place in my heart and always will. So I can't thank you enough for just allowing me and 17 Strong to be a little part of your life. And it doesn't stop here. It's always, there's always going to be more recipients. And I thank you for being transparent because when there are recipients that come in that need that advice, that need to know what they're got to look forward to, I know that I can lean on you guys.
You call me anytime.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's what's so important. And that's the inspiration of the story, I'm not afraid. I'm going to try to make a difference in somebody's life. And that's huge to me. So I can't thank you enough for that. No. So anyway, I think we're going to close from here. And thank you again for being here. And thank you for being a part of our 17 Strong family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. And don't forget, attitude is everything.
It is.
You've been listening to 17 Strong. Victories don't come by accident. To be part of the show, make a donation, or request more information, go to 17strong.org. That's SEVENTEEN strong.org.